Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Post Mortem. My name is Matt, and this is going to be something new that I'm trying out. Normally, for this channel, I don't do a lot of live content. I don't do a lot of stuff where I don't get the chance to sit down and really just edit and make things way harder on myself than they absolutely need to be. So I realized after doing this episode that I always have a ton of other things to talk about and things that I end up leaving out of the episode. Um, this episode in particular, um, which is probably, I'm going to say, my least favorite episode I've ever done, even though I think it's also my favorite. It's also my least favorite. I did a lot of research. I watched a lot of video on this guy, and there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. So let's just get into it. So basically, the reason that I wanted to do this one, I was trying to think of what would be a good pilot to come back with. There were a couple pilots I was looking at. I was looking at doing, there was one called Mr. and Mrs. Dracula, about Dracula and his wife moving to the Bronx and starting a new life. It's terrible. They actually made it twice. I'm thinking of doing that one. I've kind of written the script for it and really haven't, I haven't like fully done it, but it's basically there. Another one I was looking at was called Acting Sheriff. And in that one, it's Robert Goulet as a sheriff. He was an actor, and he gets basically acting sheriff. He gets put in the role of sheriff in a small town, and hijinks ensue. So I was looking at that one, and then as always, I always love dog pilots. I think that those are just gold. There's no shortage of pilots about dogs. There's no pilots about cats. Good luck finding I'm going to say that, and then somebody's going to pull up a pilot about cats, an unaired pilot about cats, but tons about dogs. And there's another one that I was looking at that I was going to do called Sniff. And it's about a reporter who teams up with a dog that has the ability to sniff out stories. That one I haven't actually watched yet. I just really like the premise because I think it's so stupid. I think all these dog pilots have the dumbest premises. I still think Puchinsky is like the benchmark. If somebody asks me, what do you think of when you think of a bad pilot? I think of Puchinsky, because I just think whoever came up with that was just, it was just, it was kind of the inspiration outside of, Where's Rodney? Where's Rodney was actually like the big thing. But I think Puchinsky was kind of like, this is what I was thinking of when I wanted to do this, when I wanted to find talking dogs that fart. So there's no shortage of dog pilots to get through. I'm going to do another dog pilot this season. There's a dog's life. That's actually that's a pilot I've been really wanting to get my hands on, but there's only like a few minutes of it available out there. I haven't been able to track down the whole thing, but it looks magnificent. So if I can ever find a dog's life, I'll do that. There was another one I did called the Dogs of Houndstown. I don't know. It was some other dog one. Like I said, there's no shortage of dog ones this season. You'll see another dog pilot. We'll do another one, and maybe Blue will come back from the dead. I don't know. I was thinking of doing some kind of like necromancy, like bringing him back as a zombie, or who knows? Magenta's there too. Maybe Magenta will come and she'll bring Blue back from the dead. He can't be an angel forever. Actually, yeah. So maybe Blue will come back. So yeah, this episode, I downloaded a ton of pilots and I just started going through them. I wanted to find one that really just spoke to me. One that enraged me, basically. And so I put this one on, and it was actually the first one. I downloaded like 20 pilots, but this was the first one. And I put it on, and within 20 seconds, I knew I'd made the right choice. As you can see from just watching the pilot, it's just from right away, this is going to be a nightmare. And yeah, basically this episode was entirely fueled by rage. No joke. I was very mad making this episode, not just because of the content, but just because everything kept going wrong with my new setup and the equipment and everything. But just, it was not a fun episode to do. And when I saw it, I just kind of got that rage in me that was like, this is the kind of material I need to write a full show. And I churned that out, really quickly, purely based on the rage of how much I hate John Krasinski. I'm going to say John Krasinski. I know it's the running joke and this isn't like scripted and everything, but I'm just going to say it because I'm not going to remember his name and I don't want to say his name. And yeah, fuck that guy. So, hey, Rhea, and hey, Moby Bo 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 Bo, and hey, Aaron. So yeah, the way it works. Hey, Armadillo. The way it works, I'm just gonna keep talking. People can come. Whoa, Phelan. People can come in, ask a question, whatever. I'll get to it when I can. But really, the whole point of this is like I'm just gonna be talking about the episode itself, and I just wanted to have a nice log of like things I was thinking when I made the episode. And things I didn't get to share with you, supplemental materials that I had to watch, and now I really think you should watch too. So that's kind of the point of this. It's really more so like that, and also when I do the episodes, it's heavily scripted, and that's not how I normally speak, and so I thought it'd be kind of cool to like come forward as me. And actually kind of address things like, why don't I ever say like, comment, and subscribe? Because I'm never going to. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to say like, comment, and subscribe on my channel. It's just never going to happen. Honestly, if you need to be told to like, comment, or subscribe, there are plenty of other channels you can go to, and they'll do that for you. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to take away from the episode and the flow. I did just say it. Yes. Okay. I don't want to take away from the flow of the episode. I'm very, very particular about the episode having a really solid flow and not feeling particularly long and just kind of going through. So I've never found a way to stop the episode to beg you to subscribe. Like, I'd love more subscribers. I'd love for people to share this. I'd love for it to get out there, because obviously I'm not doing that great of a job. That being said, I'm not going to just sit here and beg. I'd rather just show you messed up stuff and have fun. So yeah. Phelan, yeah, smash that like button. Ring the notification. No, I will never tell. There will never be any engagement whatsoever, which is frustrating. I know. Maybe you want engagement. Maybe you want me to talk to you. If you want to talk to me, hey, this is the time to do it. But I'd really rather just focus on the show. I'd really rather just focus on the content and and go about that. So, okay, He-Hog, Atomic Pig. I picked it because I loved Ren and Stimpy. I hate Ren and Stimpy now. I was looking forward to the day that I'd be able to share it with my daughter, and I showed her everything except Ren and Stimpy, because for obvious reasons. I mean, I know I was watching it at like 7, whatever, but I'm not going to just show her the president getting his dick stuck in a zipper. Like, that's not what I'm going to do. I'll show that to her when I feel like she's old enough to appreciate it. And so, but now I won't show it to her because the guy's a fucking creep. I'm sorry. Like I'm kind of jumping around. I had a whole list of like how I was going to do this, but now I'm just going to say it. I originally really liked Ren and Stimpy, and I did this because I liked Ren and Stimpy. And for all of the shit I said about John, and there's so much more to say because he's a piece of shit. There was a point before I did my deep dive and research and watched interviews and talked and listened to, people who accused him and everything. There was a point where I was going to talk about what a brilliant show I thought Ren and Stimpy was, and how it actually did, push animation ahead. Like, John, for all of his flaws, is a talented artist. He is. Like, you can't, I really don't think you can deny that. Like, but he's a fucking creep. He's an absolute creep. And after I watched, hours of him talking, I just couldn't take it anymore. And there wasn't any room in the episode for me to praise him. It felt really disingenuous to, on one side of it, be like, fuck you, John. And on the other side of that, be like, but you're a genius. There's enough of that. There's enough artist worship out there. There's enough people who get a free pass because they're really good at art. And it's like, I'm not doing that. That's not okay. Like, and I meant it when I said in the video, like, if you worked with John during that time and you didn't do anything, you're a piece of shit. I understand what the business is like. Trust me. I know what it's like. I understand seeing things and not wanting to say anything and whatever. But I'm sorry. This was like the biggest open secret. And if you watch the documentaries, if you watch the clips of John, especially the clips of John with his women, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's all out there. It's one of those things where it's like, it happens and you're not going to be like, Oh, I was so surprised. That guy's a creep. No, of course he's a fucking creep. Have you seen Ren and Stimpy? It's just like when we were all surprised about Louis C.K. It's like, have you heard his stand up? Like, I'm sorry to be ranting against, probably idols of people out there, but you know what? Fuck these guys. I'm sorry. So going back to He-Hog. So I spent, production wise, I actually, put this episode out in about one day. I started it at 7 a.m. and I managed to work all the way till about 2:30. And I kind of just powered through it on sheer rage and determination to get it done, mainly because I was just tired of working on it. Even if it was just the day, I'd watched these videos before and everything. I was just tired of being in John's world. I was tired of seeing his animations. I was tired of hearing his stupid voice. I just couldn't take it anymore. So I really just like pushed through it. There's a part in the episode, dumb dogs. There's a part in the episode where it cuts to me and you can see that I'm like visibly angry. And you would probably think that that's like, part of the show. And it was a reaction to, no, I was just legit angry. I don't remember when it was whatever, but you can look and you just see me kind of just like looking really angry. No, that wasn't an act. I was actually really angry filming this episode. Just because, like I said, the sheer content and thanks, Kat. The sheer content alone. And so anyway, so back to the actual show. So I picked it because I really did, at one point in my life, value Ren and Stimpy. And I wanted to take a look at this because I really didn't know of anything else he had done. And honestly, I didn't know the full breadth of what he had done outside of animation. Like I had heard the rumors, I had heard, that the guy is a creep, but I hadn't really looked into it. And once I did, it made my stomach turn really bad. And like I said, no more Ren and Stimpy. I'll keep my little guys here. They're really cool. They, they make noises kind of. They don't really work that well anymore. But I'll keep them, whatever, maybe. But yeah, I'm just not going to be a Ren and Stimpy fan anymore. So, the supplemental material I wanted to talk about, some of the things that I looked at while I was filming the episode that I think are checking out. Oh no, live feed is failing. Well, I'm just going to keep talking because I don't really know what to do. We'll have to figure out how to fix it later on because it looks fine on my end. One of the things in the episode that I showed you was the Howard Stern interview. I would very much recommend, if you want to cringe for a solid 55 minutes, look up the Billy West versus John Kay interview on Howard Stern. It is 55 minutes of just the most cringe-inducing nonsense. So what essentially happened in this interview? I don't know how many people are familiar with what happened on Ren and Stimpy. I didn't go too much into it, but eventually John got fired from Ren and Stimpy for being an asshole, because of course he did. And he was basically like, I'm going to take everybody with me. And he had brought Billy West on. They were a duo and they had, done this together. And he had brought him on and he had basically said to Billy West, like, hey, I just got fired and I want everybody to come with me. And Billy West was like, sure. And then one thing led to another and whatever. Billy West ended up not going with him. Billy West ended up actually re-auditioning for his role, which is crazy, or re-auditioning actually for the role of Ren because he wasn't originally the voice of Ren. He had to then earn the voice of Ren. He went up against like 200 other people, I think. And apparently John, because he's such a great guy, he took this horribly. He just had nothing but bad things to say about Billy. I guess he was really upset with Billy going on Jay Leno and saying that he was the inspiration for the voice of Ren. I don't know, just a bunch of nonsense. So flash forward to Howard Stern. So Howard Stern brings Billy West on, and he doesn't tell Billy that he's bringing John on. And so the worst part about this is that Billy West was coming right from his brother's funeral. He went to his brother's funeral and then went and was ambushed on the Howard Stern show. And basically, unfortunately for Howard, the cat was out of the bag at the beginning because apparently the two ran into each other in the bathroom before the show. They didn't do a very good job of keeping them separate. So they had a little back and forth in the bathroom before it happened. So it didn't really catch Billy off guard the way that Howard wanted it to. By the way, Howard, you're a piece of shit. And racist. Holy shit. Listen to that interview and count how many times Howard makes racist comments. Like that is probably one of the more groan-inducing parts, his commentary on Asian animators. Jesus Christ. So yeah, listen to that interview. But anyway, so he brings out John and basically for the next 55 minutes tries to get the two of them to fight. And the worst part about it is that, you know, this is at a time when John isn't known for being, you know, the perv he is. He's known for being risque and everything, but like the secret's not supposedly out. But I'm guessing it is for Billy because everybody at Spumco, it seems like, really knew this was going on. I don't doubt for a second that, you know, that there was something going on and Billy, you know, didn't say anything. Does that make him a piece of shit? I guess by my logic, it does. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, Billy. But anyway, so I do feel bad though in this clip, in this interview, just because it's just a crappy thing that Howard did and just proceeds to get them to try to fight the entire time. John's just sitting there like a sociopath the entire time. Howard doesn't even know John. That's the crazy thing. Howard doesn't even know John. And he doesn't even know the full story. So he keeps reiterating during the interview, like, I don't even know you, John. And I could be hearing, you know, the wrong side of it, whatever. Maybe you're a total creep. And he actually says multiple times in the interview, I put one of them in there at the beginning. He says multiple times in the interview, wow, John, you're a weird guy. Wow, John, you're like a serial killer. Wow, John, you know, it's very apparent when you like listen to this guy for like 5 seconds, like he's a creep. And so, yeah, it's 55 minutes of just Howard just continually getting in there and calling Billy West and saying that Billy has no artistic integrity. Just continually just saying, Billy, you have no artistic integrity, just slamming him for leaving John and for going on and doing the show without him. And just, it is brutal. And at one point, Billy West's wife calls in and starts like yelling at the producer. And Howard's trying to get her to come on the show because obviously he wants to like make fun of her more, but she's not playing his game. And Billy, I watched an interview later to see how he felt about that whole interview. Obviously he didn't feel good. But he said that his method that he chose to handle during that interview was to just say nothing. And he did. That's the thing is if you watch the interview, it's a lot of just Howard Stern, just trying to get them to fight, occasional things. But for the most part, you know, Billy, he said that he thinks that silence is the best weapon to use against Howard Stern. And for that, he was right. He just sat there. He didn't give Howard any real ammunition and he just kind of let it go. He made jokes as it went along, but it's super uncomfortable. It's just an uncomfortable watch. It's a ridiculous interview. Howard's a piece of shit. John's a piece of shit. Like it's terrible. So I would have put more clips in there of that interview. It was really hard to choose what to put in this episode. Like I said, it's essentially at the end of the day, it ends up being an episode essentially about pedophilia with very serious topics. Like, and it was kind of like, shit, how do I make this funny? And I know I make a lot of supposedly pedophilia jokes. Somebody commented on my comments. But you know, there's a difference between making some like lighthearted or dark subversive jokes and then actually making light of real victims and molestation. Like there's nothing funny about that. And when I was looking at the video clips of the women he victimized and the stuff that was out there, it was like, I don't want to cut this into my show. There's no shortage of videos out there on YouTube that go into what a creep John was. Like it wasn't necessary for me to push that and show the same footage that you can find if you go anywhere else. If you go anywhere else, you can find this footage. So I'll tell you what to look for, because I do think, like, in my crusade to continue to say that John's a piece of shit, and I want everybody to just see, because it's one thing for you to hear me say that John's a piece of shit, but if you actually look into it, like, you'll very quickly realize that he's a piece of shit. And so when they released Adult Party Cartoon, whatever, that piece of crap, if you've ever seen it, it is just abysmal garbage, just nothing of value, just disgusting crap. I watched the first like 5-10 minutes, whatever. So there was this episode called Naked Beach Frenzy that got that was so bad it wasn't even shown on Spike TV. That's how bad it was. Spike TV, yeah, the 1,000 Ways to Die channel and Repo Games and whatever crap they showed on Spike TV. So Naked Beach Frenzy wasn't shown on there. So when they released the Blu-ray or the DVD or whatever, they put, I don't know how many of you watched old DVDs or anything like that, but for some shows, like I remember the Clerks animated DVD, before certain episodes, they'd play like, the person introducing it. Like I remember the old South Park VHSs and stuff like that would have Matt and Trey sitting in front of a fireplace being like, oh, shucks, you guys are joining us tonight, that kind of crap. And this was kind of in that similar vein where it was just like John introducing the episode. But what's really creepy about it is he's standing next to the girl that he groomed since she was 13. And the body language that she's doing, she looks like a trapped prisoner. Like she looks like she's being held against her will. She's like, pretending to laugh. She's doing her best to look comfortable, but it's not an easy watch. And it doesn't lend itself to a comedy program. Like it's not something I would want to just make light of. Like, oh, look at this victim that can't, stand next to her, assault her. Like I can't show that. But if you wanted to look it up, it's out there. And then there's another one he did with another one of his women. And it's just the way he frames things. Like the episodes or the intro starts with him sitting in a chair and he has the girl writer on her knees to his left, just staring off at nothing. They look like prisoners. It's so sad. And it's just, I couldn't cut it in. I couldn't put that stuff in. I wanted you all to see it. Like I wanted you to know like how messed up it is, but like I wasn't going to put that in the show. I wasn't going to put that in the show and I wasn't going to make punchlines about it. And it's really hard to like stop and be like, all right, let's be serious for a minute here. Cause I don't really want to do that. I didn't get into this to make a serious show. It's not my fault that this guy was such a creep. And I normally love the research part of the show. The show is usually divided into two parts. The first part is the rabbit hole that I go down looking into the lore behind the show and the writers and the directors. And then the second half of the show is the, MST3K type observational stuff. My favorite part is the research because I love this stuff. I love researching and looking into all these old videos and uncovering stuff. I like finding things that other people haven't seen. That's like, I really like to do that. For this, I didn't like to do any of this. I didn't like to research this episode at all. Because what was I going to research? Obviously, I'm researching the creator and what a creep he is and all this stuff. And it's just like, I don't, it wasn't the place for it. So I didn't include, those interviews. Like I said, if you want to look for them, they're out there. I didn't include any of John K's other animations. I didn't include the George Liquor Show or any of the other crap he did because I don't care. It's all the same stuff. It's all the same, scantily clad women. It's all the same gross out humor. I actually, at the end of the day, what I'm most surprised about is how not funny he is. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, Ren and Stimpy, it was great, but it was a team. John, no, you're not funny, buddy. You're not funny and you're never going to work again. I don't know how many times I can say that. Oh gosh, I don't know. I know I'm just poking a potential bear, just like when I was worried about when I did the Savage Crime Show, just because Derek Savage is particularly prickly about criticism. And he takes himself very, very seriously. We tried to get him to come to our film festival to show his new movie, Cool Cat versus Dirty Dog, The Coronavirus Wars. And he said he wouldn't do it for less than $2,000. So he thinks quite highly of himself right now. He's right up there with Neil Breen. Neil Breen's another piece of work. I've been trying unsuccessfully for the better part of a decade to get Neil Breen to screen one of his movies at our local movie theater back when I was doing movie programming and stuff like that, and to come to a film festival. That guy, I can't tell you how many correspondence I've had with that guy, and I've never gotten anywhere with him. It's like talking to a robot. I honestly don't know how that guy functions. I know that's like the mystique of Neil Breen. And if you don't know who Neil Breen is, holy shit, do a Google search on Neil Breen and watch every video you can. but that guy is crazy. And yeah, they take themselves very, very seriously. And I'm sure John takes himself very seriously. And he's still a keyboard warrior on the internet, on his stupid blog. And yeah, so that's that. I didn't really think, that was kind of, as far as like content went, that was really it. I said that this, when I did this, I didn't want to talk too long. I didn't want to go on like this crazy rant. I just kind of wanted to give some insight into how this all went. And if anybody had any questions along the way, I'd be happy to answer them. I thought I'd always wrap this up around 30 minutes. I don't want to like beat this to death, especially because there's just not too much more to say. Like it was a fun episode to do. I really enjoyed doing it. As far as like the humor, like I enjoyed the editing process more than I enjoyed shooting it. I actually hate shooting the episodes. I hate acting against nothing. Whenever I'm writing the scripts, I always kind of groan when I get the idea to write something where I have to act, just because I don't want to, because it's really hard. Like that whole like Blue sequence, anytime I've brought Blue on the show and I've had to act against a nothing, that's really annoying. And it feels like as you're doing it, one, it feels stupid. And two, it feels like there's no way this is ever going to work. And I felt that very much this time doing the Blue stuff. Like I felt very, very much like I don't want to do this. And then, of course, this is the episode also where I ran out in the middle of my street and screamed at the top of my lungs. And of course, the neighbors were out. You can hear the dog barking in the background. That's the neighbor over there, and his dog's going wild. They're all probably wondering what the hell is wrong with me. I don't know any of my neighbors, so I'm sure that I just look like an absolute weirdo. But it was necessary because honestly, when I was actually watching the episode in the first time, getting my real-time reactions, that's essentially like how I felt. That's when it cut to that shot of the world map and it showed that spaceship going towards Africa. I was like, fuck, like this is comedy gold for one for my show, but two, terrible. It was terrible. Just, oh God, I can't stress how much I hate this pilot. I can't stress. Just to wrap up, just to like get a summary. I hated every moment of this pilot. I didn't think it was remotely creative. I didn't think it was remotely funny. I didn't think it was drawn well. Hey, John, did you forget to draw? I don't understand. Like normally you're really good at drawing, and then all these and also the comedy and the characters. He said in his Cloudy review that the characters are number one. He was like, I look towards character whenever I look towards anything. And it's like, he wrote about a horny pig psychiatrist. What was the character there, John? Hell if I know. He didn't write one. It just sucked. I can't say that enough. I mean, honestly, like I wasn't this upset when I did Heil Honey, I'm Home. But essentially, I mean, Heil Honey, I'm Home, when I did that, I made sure to say that that was also just kind of boring. Like for a Hitler sitcom, it was pretty like banal and boring. Like there wasn't anything to it. It had no teeth. It didn't really do anything. So it wasn't even worth getting outraged about. Like maybe if it had pushed it a little bit further, but like I didn't even have the outrage there. Like I had genuine, like I said, genuine outrage doing this. I was genuinely mad, and I think you can see it when doing the episode. Aaron Diaz writes, if John K. tried to launch another show, would you welcome the chance to cover it on pilot, or are you done with him after this? I am done with him after this. He will now be a punchline on my show. That is it. And I won't even say his name. Like, that's why I said John Krasinski. No, he is, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, okay, will he get another chance? I don't know. There would have been a time a long time ago I would have said Louis C.K. wouldn't have gotten another chance. And here's he doing, shows again. I don't think it matters anymore. I think the idea of cancel culture is nonsense because I don't think that anybody actually gets canceled. It's ridiculous. And I don't mean to turn this like political, but I'm just saying like, I don't know what to expect anymore. Like I would say, I'll never see a John K. cartoon again. I can't say that because who the hell knows? There's no shortage of streaming services out there. There's no shortage of platforms for him to put out a content on. Who knows? I mean, we could see another John K. thing. I won't watch it, and I wouldn't give him I wouldn't even give him like the soapbox to. I wouldn't do it on the show. I'm mad that I did this, and I just wanted to make sure that I made it very, very clear I didn't support him. And yeah, no, I wouldn't even bother. If you want to, revel in John K, go watch some Ren and Stimpy and maybe feel a little bit better. Would you rather sit through He-Hog again or See Me Dance? I mean, See Me Dance, I've seen it like 3 or 4 times. Like, of course I'd watch See Me Dance again. I've got it like right over here on my shelf. I love that movie. If you haven't seen See Me Dance, it's a Christian film about a dancer who is like fighting Satan, and it's just, oh, it's amazing. See Me Dance is one of my favorites, and barely anybody knows about it. It's as Phelan said, it's See Me Dance. So whatever. Let's see. Yeah, allegedly in 2020, he said he was retired, but also not by choice. So, like, yeah, if someone gives him the chance, John K will 100% jump back on it. Let's just hope that never happens. Yeah, like I said, I don't know anymore. I would like to say it's done, but people have very short like memories, and I'm very surprised at the people who are able to make comebacks. So who knows? For next episode, I've already watched the next pilot I'm doing. It's a pilot called, I'm not going to tell you what it's called, but it's essentially, it seems like somebody tried to make their own Three Stooges. And it's really bad. It's like really, really bad. There's no jokes in it whatsoever. I give them credit for like trying to make what looked like a real life cartoon, but it's just so boring. And it has one of my favorite comedians in it, John Panette, which now you'll be able to look it up. But he's deceased now. Aaron, are there any other pilots from canceled people you plan to cover? This last one was your best. I mean, I think that comedy, especially my comedy, and especially the character I do on The Pilot is Dead, is fueled by rage, because people continually are like, are you going to do a pilot that's funny? And it's like, I tried to. I found this pilot called Good Morning. I don't remember what it's called. It was actually shared by the found footage guys with me. And I think it was called like the Good Morning Show. And it was really funny. It was a pilot that was the guy who, gosh, I'm usually so good with names, but I don't remember his name. He plays the energy vampire on What Will You Do in the Shadows, and he plays that car guy on Better Call Saul. And essentially what the premise of the show was that it was a morning show, like a news report show, and he was the host, and they would treat it like a regular morning show, like on Fox 21. Yeah, Mark Prost, on Fox 21 or something like that. And they would have people on to be the co-anchor with him, but they wouldn't tell her that everything was fake, that it's not a real morning show. And so she would just be like completely blindsided. And apparently that was what they were going to do every time. They're going to swap out the person he would host with and basically do the same kind of prank over and over and over again. And it was really funny. It was really, really funny, but it didn't really lend itself to this show. I'm sorry. I know that seems like a cop out, and it seems like it's like, oh, you can't make something out of something that's funny, but it's hard to do cutaway jokes, and it's hard to do this if you're like, see how funny this is. I mean, I guess I could try it. People have been asking me to do Heatwave and Jack since I started this. I'm not a huge Dan Harmon fan. Sorry, everyone. I'm not a Dan Harmon fan. So I haven't really been too excited to check out Heatwave and Jack, but the demand has been so high for it. It's been the pilot that people ask for every single time. Like I can't tell you how many times people have said, do Heatwave and Jack. The last time somebody asked me, I said, I'll do it when I hit 5,000 subscribers. So there's the benchmark. If I hit 5,000 subscribers, I have a long way to go. It's like 3,000. I don't see that happening anytime soon, especially the rate I'm going. I will do Heatwave and Jack, but I'm expecting it. I'm not a fan of Dan Harmon, but I'm expecting it to be good. Like I think it's the reason people want me to do it is because they like it. It was like an ahead of its time Adult Swim-esque show that failed on, I think, Fox. There's a lot of shows that fail because they're ahead of their time. Those aren't necessarily that fun to cover. Like, I like to cover shows. The reason I wanted to do this is to find the Puchinskis, to find the things that it's like, I can't believe that people spent time and money and that crews were assembled and like this went on for days. And there were maybe, season. It's just I love to find the things like the Puchinskis in the world. And Lookwell, yeah, Lookwell's another one. Lookwell, that was the other one I was trying to remember. Lookwell and Heatwave and Jack are two of them that I continually get asked to do. I would look at them later, but not right now. Yeah, Crapopolis looks bad. I noticed, actually, I saw the latest, ad for Fox's new show. I can't remember. It's like John Hamm or something. I just saw the ad for it on Hulu. And I'm just like blown away that Fox has like developed this animation style that just, in my opinion, looks like garbage. Like, I'm sure it's like John Kay would like shit all over that, like, but rightfully so. Like, Grimsburg, there you go. I don't understand why Fox decided like this is our style, and that style is like super minimalistic and boring looking. I don't get. They all look exactly the same. Every single one looks like the exact carbon copy of the one that came before it. You can just swap them out interchangeably. There was another one, I don't even know. So they're all just run together, and I don't watch any of them. I don't really watch Fox animations, especially don't watch The Simpsons anymore. I haven't watched The Simpsons in at least new episodes. It's just embarrassing to watch it now. It's embarrassing to watch it now, not just because of the writing, but also because, and they can't help this, but their voices are going. And especially Julie's voice for Marge. Geez, that's like, watch the new Simpsons, and it's just like she can barely do it anymore. And it's just like, I don't even know. What are we up to? Season 36, season 40? I don't even know. It's just, lazy, crappy writing, which is unfortunate because it was one of the, obviously, as you know from watching the show, one of the greats of all time. I've seen the early episodes so many times. It's like, it's unreal. Okay, so I'm going to wrap things up. I really appreciate everybody coming. I think I got everybody who had a question. I really appreciate you coming. Like I said, I really just wanted this to be a stripped down ability for me to just kind of talk about my process, talk about things I've never gotten to talk about before. Like I said at the beginning of this whole rant, I have never said on a video, like, comment, or subscribe, and I never will. I just don't want to. And I don't want to work it into my script, and I don't want to ask you to do it. As we've talked about, it's like, that makes it kind of hard, I guess, to grow as a channel, especially when you're really niche, and especially when you're kind of vulgar. Some people are put off by the vulgarity in the show, the porn clips or the language or whatever. It's just like, I'm not making this stuff. I'm just finding it. I'm just a collector. I just go out and find it. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to find when I do something. Like, it's not my fault that when I did the gay robot episode, I wandered into a world of gay robot porn. That's not my fault. I didn't make that stuff. But then when I found it, I was like, well, now that I'm here, I might as well look at a lot of it. And that's the fun of doing this show. It's like, you never know where it's going to go. That's why I like the first part of the episode more than I like the second part. As much as I like talking about, the show itself, I really like digging and finding all of these weird things that we've never seen before. And just, that's the fun. And yeah, like I said, I never know when I start where it's going to go. Gay robot, I didn't know where that was going to go. And then when I got there, I was like, God, I can't believe that exists. Yeah, it's the fun of doing this show. So thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in, for the episodes. I appreciate the comments and the likes. I'll keep doing this. I know that like everything's been really spotty, and, I've given a few explanations for like why that's happened over the years. The biggest reason is just losing my set. I lost my first set, and then I tried to do it again on a green screen, which people were kind of like, green screen. And it was like, yeah, okay, whatever. So that was like, right. I mean, I did that first, green screen episode, season 2, which is the season we won't talk about. I did that at the height, like right before we went on quarantine, right before we went on lockdown. And it was just like, I lost the studio. And then it was like, well, what do I do? And I tried to shoot one on my couch, and I was like, this sucks. It looks stupid. And then it just kind of like, it never felt right. I was just trying to find a good set. And it's like, this is the first time I feel like I've really had the stability and just kind of the setup, the overall setup to do this. And also it's the first time, quite honestly, that I felt funny enough and felt like I wanted to delve back into this stuff. It's not, contrary to what you believe, like as far as like watching me and this live stream and everything, I don't particularly like being on camera. This isn't like, I kind of like felt like I shot myself in the foot when I made this show, because I basically gave myself every position, but I knew that that was going to be the only way I could get it done. But I don't particularly like doing every aspect of it. I'm kind of a little envious of the creators out there who have people to do their stuff for them. But I'm also a massive control freak, so I wouldn't necessarily be really good at giving tasks to people. I kind of need to do everything myself. So I really do appreciate everybody joining me. I will do this the next time I have an episode, right? Just like this, Monday after that, I'll go live, answer questions, talk about what it was like to do this, and I'll keep making content for you guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me, and everybody have a great night.